Hello all. In this video we are going to discuss the idea of what if I am consistently scoring low, like let's say consistently getting 70s or 75s, right? I am looking at 85s or 95s. I am aiming for that, but I am consistently scoring low. How do I improve is the idea that we are going to discuss in this video, right? The strategies will vary slightly based on the different sections, but the overall overarching theme is based on two things. One, do you get the idea? Are you able to solve the idea, right? Two different things. One is, do you get the idea, depends on how much you have invested in terms of learning, right? Sometimes you feel like you have mastered geometry, but geometry when you study, for example, right, you are studying triangle separately, circle separately, and then you are studying in a structured way. And when you are studying in a structured way, you are solving questions that are relevant to that idea that you just studied, right? Not from 3 weeks ago. So you are able to solve, right? Later what happens is that you get some question from geometry in a question of pool of 22 questions. What happens then, right? You don't know which idea is this question relevant to in terms of geometry. Sometimes we struggle, it happens to the best of us. So then what happens is you have to go to the drawing board once again and then say, okay, I'm going to delve deeper into each of the idea, because I get the idea, I'm able to solve the idea when I'm doing it in consonants, right next to each other. But later if I look at one standalone question, it should occur to me that this is the idea underlying this question. How do I get there? By understanding the topics better, right? Which means you have to go back to your drawing board. So you got to find out where is your mistake. So it could be either in terms of learning or in terms of practice. So if you are unable to practice well, right, or if your practice is lacking because you feel that you are able to solve a question in 4 minutes, rather you should be doing it in half a minute or a minute, then you got to realize that practice is where your lacking is. So you got to spend hours and hours and hours in fixing your practice. These are two sure shot ways of identifying your problems, of why you are stagnant, and making them better, right? Another super important thing is, forget about answering a lot of questions. Start by answering every question correctly. It is a super important idea, but people usually take it very lightly. What I mean by that, you got to make sure instead of answering 8 questions right and 3 questions wrong, you got to make sure you answer only 7 of them, but you make sure you get all 7 of them completely right, because what happens is that 7 right will probably get you more marks than 8 right and 4 wrong questions, right? So make sure it is also a skill, it is an art to develop. So make sure you start by saying, I will eliminate any question, even if I have the mildest of the doubts. I am going to say, I am not marking this answer, let me go back while I am analyzing and I will fix that. But when I am actually answering the paper, when I am attempting the paper, I will make sure I am not touching a question that I am doubtful of, right? So this really works well with all 3 sections, because you can be doubtful in all 3 sections. Math, it is slightly simpler because you either get it right or not get it right. In verbal and ALR is where you got to take a lot of precaution, because you got to make sure you really know the answer to mark the answer, otherwise stay away from marking the answer. One last idea regarding this in these lines is that if you have spent 15 minutes answering 3 questions in a 4 question reading comprehension, make sure if you are not very comfortable with the 4th answer, unmark that answer. Don't click that answer and then walk away, right? It is a super tough skill to master, but it is super useful, because the more you can unmark and walk away, it is against you fighting against your ego. Your ego says, I've invested 15 minutes, might as well get that answer right? Maybe I will want to take a chance, right? That is what human psyche is about. But if you are sharp enough to tell yourself and not fall in for your ego and then say, okay, I spent 15 minutes, all fine, but do I want to sacrifice the marks that I already have it in my bag because of the temptation to attend that one last question, right? It's very tough for people to not mark an answer while they have read the passage. So as an extension for the previous idea, in case in terms of reading comprehension, it even sometimes applies in DLR. If you are not very sure about one answer, don't mark that answer. Mark 3 more questions and then move on. Don't waste time on that 4th question. Not worth your time at all. Might as well solve some sentence rearrangement and get 1 more question right. Need not be another RC passage. It can be one more simpler question that can get you like this. But don't fall into that trap. Make sure you are able to distinguish between maximizing your score and just trying to test your luck, right? So these are some ideas the most crucial important ideas are, first go back to your drawing board and then figure out if you are unable to solve questions or unable to improve your marks because your understanding is not enough or your practice is not enough. These are the two most crucial ideas if you are stagnant at some point and you want to improve your mark scores. Best wishes.